On August 19, 2004, Google went public at $85 per share. The company that began as a research project in Stanford dorm room was suddenly worth $23 billion. 2 decades later, Google will become one of the most powerful companies in human history, shaping how the world searches, communicates, navigates, learns, and increasingly how it works. But Google's dominance was never guaranteed. It survived the dot-com crash, destroyed entire industries, missed key shifts, faced exceptional threats from mobile and social media, and it's now facing the biggest challenge of its life: artificial intelligence that could make it itself obsolete. This is a story of how Google went from an academic experiment to the gatekeeper of the internet, and why its future is no longer as secure as it seemed. In 1995, 2 PhD students met at Stanford University. Larry Page was considered enrolling, and Sergey Brin was assigned to show him around campus. They did not like each other at first, but both were obsessed with the same question: how to organize the rapidly growing World Wide Web. At that time, search engines ranked pages by how often keywords appeared, and the results was messy, easily manipulated, and unreliable. So Page had a different idea. What if web pages were ranked by how many other pages linked to them, and how important these linking pages were? It was an academic concept, inspired by citation analysis in research papers. They called it PageRank. By 1996, they had built a search engine called Backrub. Running on Stanford University servers, it was already overperforming competitors. But there was a problem. The university wanted them gone. So in 1998, Page and Brin incorporated a company in a friend's garage in Menlo Park. They named it Google, a misspelling of Goggle, the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. Their first funding came as a $100,000 check from Sun Microsystems co-founder Andy, and Google was born. The timing was terrible, and the dot-com bubble was forming, and within 2 years it would burst. Hundreds of internet companies collapsed, and the venture capital disappeared. Also, the confidence evaporated. But Google survived. This is because it did something radical. It focused only on search. It had no portals, no news, and no flashy homepage. Just a blank page, a logo, and a box. And it worked. By the year 2000, Google became the default search engine for Yahoo. And by 2001, it was processing over 100 million search pages per day. But Google did not have a real business model. That changed with AdWords. Instead of banner ads, Google sold text ads tied directly to search intent, and advertisers only paid when users clicked. It was simple, measurable, and insanely profitable. Search wasn't just useful anymore, it was a money machine. And in 2004, Google went public. Within 2 years, it was worth more than Ford and General Motors combined. And by 2006, Google controlled over 60% of global search. But search was just the beginning. That same year, Google acquired a struggling video platform for $1.65 billion. It was called YouTube. At that time, critics called it a mistake. There was no clear revenue model, copyright lawsuit loomed, and the bandwidth costs were massive. Today, YouTube generates more revenue than Netflix, Spotify, and HBO combined. Google didn't just grow, it expanded sideways. Gmail redefined email storage, Google Maps replaced paper maps, Chrome rewrote the browser market, and Android gave Google control of mobile access to the internet. And by 2010, Google wasn't a search company anymore. It was an infrastructure. But cracks were forming. And in 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone. Google executives were stunned. They had been building their own phone with a physical keyboard, and they scrapped it overnight. Android pivoted, and they rushed, creating the touchscreen support, and it launched just in time. Google survived mobile, but it didn't dominate in the way it dominated search, and Apple controlled hardware. App developers prioritized on iOS, and Google was everywhere, but not fully in control. Then came social media, and Facebook captured attention. Google tried to respond, and they launched Google+. It failed spectacularly. Despite forcing users into it, and despite years of development, Google could not make people care. It was a rare reminder that scale didn't guarantee success. Still, the money kept flowing, and search ads funded everything. Self-driving cars, moonshot projects, global fiber networks, and artificial intelligence research. In 2015, Google restructured itself under a new company called Alphabet. The idea was simple: protect the cash cow and let everything else take the risk. But dependency on search became a weakness. By the late 2010s, regulators took notice, and the European Union fined Google billions for antitrust violations. The US government followed. For the first time, Google faced the possibility of being broken apart. At the same time, consumers' behavior was changing, and people searched less on Google and more on Amazon, TikTok, and Instagram. Search intent was fragmenting. Then came AI. Google had invented the transformer architecture in 2017, the foundation of modern generative AI, but it didn't rush into the public. It was afraid. Search made too much money. Releasing AI that answered questions directly could kill ads, and so Google hesitated. Others did not. In 2022, OpenAI released ChatGPT, and within weeks, it reached 100 million users. For the first time in 20 years, Google search looked vulnerable. Internal memo leaked. Google employee warned, "We have not moat." Then Google responded fast. They launched Bard, and then they launched Gemini. Then integrated AI into search, Gmail, Docs, and also Android. But this time, Google wasn't leading. It was defending. Every AI answer risked replacing a search click. Every improvement threatened its own revenue, and Google was fighting itself. Today, Google still dominates. It generates over $300 billion in annual revenue, and it controls Android, Chrome, YouTube, Maps, and the largest advertising system ever built. But the rules have changed, and AI does not reward gatekeepers. It rewards intelligence at the edge. Google's future depends on 3 decisions. First, protect search without struggling in innovation. And if Google locks AI behind ads, it risks losing users entirely. Second, win the platform war again. AI assistants, not apps, may become the new interface. And third, use what it already owns: the data, the infrastructure, the models. Google has more AI leverage than anyone. And the question is whether it comes more fast enough. Google did not lose relevance, but it lost inevitably. It began as a company that organized the world information. Now it's more decide whether it's still do or whether it's willing to let something new replace it. And the garage is gone. The dorm room is history, but the next version of Google is still being written. At this time, survival isn't guaranteed.